then filming a video and uploading it, especially for what I'm doing today. So I'm just going to do an update on what's been happening here. It's been a few weeks since I did my last video on guppy diseases and stuff like that, which if you haven't seen that video, you don't need to actually watch it. I did put the most relevant information on my Facebook and Instagram accounts, so I've got pest prescriptions on there. So if you're having sick fish, most of the information is actually applicable to most of the fish that we keep, so I really recommend having a look at that. But I haven't been making any videos because at the moment it is an absolute crap storm in this fish room. So I've got all these new tank stands that I have to paint the nice red color like these ones. I've also got to get these poor little koi guppies into their tank, and I've got to feed everyone some brine shrimp soon. These ornaments are going to be in a aquascape pretty soon, but I've got 6 out of 8 tanks set up, so I am slowly restocking my website. These ones aren't up on there yet because it's probably a bit hard to see. If I can zoom in without destroying everything. These ones are getting quite a bit of melts in them because I got these ones from the wholesaler. They weren't ones I grew myself. I'm going to set up CO2 for this tank so that these ones can convert sooner, but I will start having some of these ones on my website. Unfortunately, with how much everything in this fish room has cost me at the moment, I can't afford to get the tanks built for all these stands yet. But because of all of that, I did have to raise my prices on my website just a little bit, which means instead of being a lot of the plants $6, they're now $8. So it's a $2 increase, which is still cheaper than a lot of places, but it is unfortunate that I have to do that. But yeah, so all these stands I need to paint. I need to clean up all this crap as well. I'm getting as many of the fish as I can sorted out. I got a mail for these 2 girls because I kind of ran out. But the Daphnia, they'll be up on my website hopefully in the next couple of weeks as well. The light's really not going to cooperate, but this is all Moana in here that I'm trying to culture because they've got some seed shrimp and stuff into my other cultures, so they are out competing, and I don't want people to get any Daphnia cultures from me that will crash. All the plants in here I'm going to be doing cuttings of today, so I'll start stocking my website with some of my homegrown plants again. These Telenantheria are a bit leggy. I potted them ages ago, so I'm going to have to repot them and cut them down and get them looking good before I can sell them. So unfortunately the red plants are still a little bit away from being stocked on my website. Sword plants I'm slowly recovering because these tanks had to be moved around. But these are my Moscow blue crossed blue galaxy guppies. Females aren't that spectacular to look at, but the males develop a really nice color, which is great to see. But yeah, so everything is kind of a contortionist act at the moment. The stands have come up really nicely, I think, in red. Got blue eye rainbow fish that should be laying eggs in here. These are actually the fry of that red female, which is interesting because obviously she must have mated with a different colored male beforehand, because these ones aren't coming out blonde bodied and red tailed. There's a few blonde bodies in there, but that's interesting that the crossing of the albino red male with the female has made non-true blonde-bodied guppies. But the Pistogramma cacatoides that I thought were all dead in the ponds have actually had a whole bunch of babies, so I was really impressed to see that. So there is this female here and 1 male. So I lost 1 female cacatoides outside, but the temperature did get down to 15 and they actually survived. So I only brought these in yesterday, and I've had a heap of fry come in as well, so that's great to see. But yeah, so everything is starting to be restocked on my website very slowly. Fish room is slowly coming along. I've got a few aquascapes that I will be doing in the near future as well, and I've got to catch up with Adrian from Adrian's Fish Room so that we can do a joint scape and Japanese garden, Medaka pond I should say, outside. So hopefully we can do that before the end of June, but it's just one of those things. I'm time poor and financially poor, and Adrian is super busy as well. So we're just trying to marry up our schedules to be able to do all these things. And of course, if there's any questions or you have any requests for anything, just let me know, because I've made myself pretty available on a lot of platforms for things. But it's just a huge mess to get things done at the moment. So the objective for today is actually to get all these plant domes sorted out. So if you are struggling with getting your plants converted from like an aquarium store, especially like your carpeting plants, so this is Monte Carlo and HC Cuba at the back. You see how leggy these are grown because I've kind of neglected them. You need to increase the humidity. So if you are buying just like a potted one from the pet store, which will come looking like this. This is Takashi carpet. It's not actually Monte Carlo, but you can see kind of has done the same thing. You need to slowly put it into the fish tank. So a lot of people have fish tanks like this and they try to put it in down the bottom here. It doesn't work. It'll melt back and it will die. What is the best thing to do is actually, if you can put like a bit of egg crate or something so it's closer to the surface and closer to the light, and just slowly convert it that way. Otherwise, CO2 is your best bet. And if you want to do CO2, I'm going to need to do a video on CO2 and I need to do a video on snails. But I've got citric acid at the moment, and somewhere in one of my very many styrofoam boxes, I have those DIY CO2 canisters, and I will actually mix up one of them. So you just get citric acid like that, equal amount of bicarb soda, and then add some water, and it will go into the pressurized CO2 container. And a 2-liter container, which is probably just under a gallon in Freedom units, that will run a tank like this. This is a 60-liter tank. It'll run one of those tanks for at least a quarter of a year. So you got a good 3-4 months of CO2 out of it, because I always run my CO2 at 1 bubble per 4 seconds. So that works really well. Yeah, so I'm just reading the comments. So I'm really slow at reading. So if you're writing things and I pause for a minute, it's because I'm trying to read. So yeah, so the Medaka scape is one I'm really looking forward to doing. I've planned it out. I've planned out the scape for absolutely ages. So I've even written music for the actual video for the background. I've planned out exactly how I want to do the garden, and I'm also doing an indoor Medaka rice fish and golden white cloud tank. So I can showcase the rest of my house now. That's not looking so much like a cracked den. Like, it's still a construction zone and mess everywhere, but we've plastered up that. We've fixed our ceiling and everything, so it's really good to get all that stuff done. This is like the most clear part of the house at the moment. So yeah, so I've written the music for it to play on the old harp. I've got all the supplies here. So this is, if I move this chair out of the way. So this is a low tank, and the reason why I'm going to use a low tank is Medaka rice fish are viewed way better from top down. So I can actually show you guys outside. If the internet connection gets really bad, I'm so sorry. I just want to say, like, I'm a horticulturalist, but I say I know nothing about plants. This pineapple has been growing in the fish pond for months now, and it's still growing the fruit really well. The root systems on it are still doing really well, and it's been sitting in a bucket of water for the better part of 6 months. I don't know anything about plants anymore. So I'm going to use these pots for the bog filter for the pond, and the fish I've settled on, if I can find them in this pond. I've got 2 ponds of them. Of course, they're going to be very uncooperative. I'll go to the other pond. So there are a heap of rice fish varieties that were given to me by my friend Glenton, which is great because he has like an eye for really good quality fish. So these are tricolor Kohaku Lame rice fish, and they're at the bottom here. If they'd come to the surface, it'd be great. Sorry about the birds. So yeah, so these are Kohaku Lame Medaka rice fish. They're absolutely stunning. So the pond's going to be for there. Yeah, pygmy cories in a low tank would look stunning. So I'm doing an Asian themed tank, so otherwise I would put pygmy cories in the low tank as well, because I think they just have a really nice feel to them. These are in here, just the Kohaku Medaka rice fish. If they want to show themselves, they're at the bottom. When you see them, they're actually really bright. Oh, there it is. So it looks like a comet, like the color orange, red in there is very similar to a comet. And I have orange rice fish that look like a nude color compared to the color of these guys. And they're in here, so the orange rice fish are in here. I swear there's orange rice fish in here, if they show themselves. And they won't. But yeah, so I've got other tricolors in here. They're slowly coloring up. So I've noticed with the rice fish as well, so when you're breeding rice fish, so I've got a pond full of platinum rice fish babies. The adults have recently passed away because they're a few years old now, but these are some baby platinums. So you got like the white ones and the grey bodied ones like this. The bright speckled or like iridescent lame color that you get on them doesn't seem to happen for all of them until they're nearly mature. So you get a lot of them that will just look like plain rice fish, and then all of a sudden as they mature they seem to get a lot more like bright iridescent scales. So this one's got a little bit of iridescence going down the back, and then as it matures it may explode in color, and the same for this one. But then you get some early maturing ones that get a lot of quite quickly, which is really interesting. So don't try and grade your rice. They kind of betray you as they mature. It's a little bit like goldfish, you know, you get little goldfish this big, then by the time they're that big, they've completely changed color. So Daisy's rice fish. So these, I'll show these ones off first, because these are really nice if they actually come to the surface. So these are chrysanthemum rice fish. I want to say that was like Shogo Hiku something or other. I don't know. Glenn knows all the names off by heart. Japanese is a very hard language for me. Give me Chinese names over Japanese names any day of the week. But you can see how spectacular these fish are. And the fins on these fish are really different, which is what I really like as well. So I've got to bring them inside to breed. But the Daisy's rice fish, you do need to be careful with Daisy's rice fish. They're actually not from Japan. They're an Indonesian or Sulawesi rice fish. So they like the temperature a lot warmer. True story. I spent a lot of money on Daisy's rice fish thinking they'll survive outside in the winter here. That was a big waste of money I did, simply because I didn't do this much of research. If I had just even Googled Daisy's rice fish, I would have found that out. So yeah. And for feeding rice fish fry, I found baby brine shrimp is great. If you get Nick's bug buffet, that works really well as well, but I only had like a little bit that was given to me by Glenn, and I used that up, so I haven't been to Nick's store to replace it. But This is bladderwort, the bane of my existence. There is a heap of golden white clouds in here if they will show themselves. Yeah. So one thing to keep in mind too, if you've got like trees near tubs and ponds, they will drop leaves in the pond and turn the water acidic quite quickly. The other thing to keep in mind as well, so like this is a peach tree. Peach trees, the wood and everything can actually be toxic, but because they're dropping the leaves in naturally, it doesn't seem to really affect the fish. But if you've got things like citrus trees, I've cut this citrus tree back. Some of the fruit fell in here and it turned the water acidic, which unfortunately landed in disaster for the 5 rice fish that were in here because I was at work and was unable to get here to save them. But now it's going to have to be an empty out and scoop out the mosquito. There they are. Look at the spectacular colours. So yeah, so that's chrysanthemums ones. I love them the most. Yeah, so the fruit falling in here actually killed a lot of things, unfortunately. I really need to get out here and weed, but it's so much of an effort at the moment. So we're coming into winter now, which means a lot of the like deciduous or deciduous, so all the deciduous plants, the lotus and all that, they're actually losing the leaves. Best practice when the leaves and stuff start dying off like this is just get the secateurs. You can give them a tug. If they don't come out with the tug, get the secateurs and cut them just so that they don't fall into the pond and break down and then lead to this. So all the snails start eating the leaves as they break down. You can get the pond overrun with snails, and then once they have a population explosion then crash, it can make the water in your pond go foul. So it is always best practice just remove any of the excess dead stuff from the pond. Yeah, so for like tubs like this, it's a lot easier for falling leaves from trees to turn the water acidic. And if you've got fish like guppies that like harder water and a higher pH, that can end in disaster. The main reason why that tub over there in particular died was because the actual fruit from the lime tree fell in there, and that was highly acidic, and that ended up killing the 5 fish that were in there. I think we've still got a thermometer in one of these ponds. I do. So we're nearly in winter because technically winter starts in June. The temperature is down to 17, 18 degrees. So at night it's probably getting down to 14, and there are still guppies swimming around in ponds. The Thai orchid guppies, I think they're a bit closer related to endlers, so they handle the cold a lot better. But these are koi guppies, and they are doing just fine. The unfortunate thing with my water lilies at the moment, so this is why I need to do a video on the snails. This snail here, see how it's kind of got all those... That's not going to focus now. Well, you can see it's kind of got a speckled pattern, or you can really see it on this one. Again, so the foot of the snail, it's got like all the little speckles on there. This isn't a traditional pond snail, it's a different type of snail. You can see it a lot on here. These ones will eat plants that are healthy. So usually like your ram's horns and your pond snails will eat dead or dying plants. These ones are very happy to eat your live plants. So they are a huge pain in the backside, and they've made their way into a lot of my ponds. So all the water lilies in here have been ravaged by these snails. So I'm going to have to actually start killing off the snails. So that's the other thing, because now I've also had to raise the prices of my plants on my website. I am going to start doing treatments for snails and planaria for all my plants, because if prices go up, I firmly believe quality of everything should go up as well. So yeah, so that's kind of everything that's been happening here. And hopefully I can do better videos soon. It's just a matter of getting everything sorted out. I need to actually have some money to buy the things I need for escapes and the fish tanks, so it's a very slow journey getting this done. If you guys have any questions at all in any of the videos, you can leave a comment. My channel is still small enough I can answer everyone's questions. But yeah, so that's everything that's been happening here. Hopefully things just keep getting better. I've got some rainbow fish here that I'm going to be getting into bigger tanks and hopefully start breeding. And I'll do, yeah. Oh yeah, the funding issues are real, and it's one of those catch-22 things. So I need to breed more fish to pay for more tanks. I need the tanks to breed more fish. So it's kind of like, let someone break out the fortune cookies and we'll solve this paradox. So yeah, so everything is slowly getting there, but I don't know if I showed off all the tanks. I only kind of showed these tanks around, but yeah, so I've got all Bucephalandra and stuff like that in these tanks. Platinum guppies breeding in here, and a lot of the Anubias and stuff like that. So the Anubias copperfolia are looking really good at the moment. So I would say Anubias barteri and Anubias copperfolia are really great center feature plants for low tech and low light tanks. Got some baby mollies in here, some tiger antlers and everything in here, some 24 karat females in here, and more platinums down this end. Unfortunately, I had a huge cyanobacteria outbreak in this tank, but it means I get to try something I've always wanted to try as well, and get some narite snails and see if they're going to eat everything growing in here that I don't want. Oh. So yeah, so that's how everything is going on in here. Got the Crebensis in this tank with a whole bunch of Harlequins. They should start breeding soon because she's coloured up really nicely, and so is he. And that's without having any food in here. So as soon as some live baby brine shrimp goes in here, he colours up spectacularly, and she colours up more, believe it or not. So yeah, thank you for the 3 people who are currently watching. I will try to pull my finger out and get some better videos up soon, but you have to bear with me. Thank you, everyone.